Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER. I'm Seven. We have Drew. You're watching GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, and pop culture commentary. Yeah, so this episode, wanted to talk a little bit about the industry. One of our guests that are usually one of our co-hosts usually here, Davion, had a very interesting conversation. We were talking about the industry and I guess the trials and tribulations of getting in the industry or not. And he goes to a lot of different conventions and networking events, and he's just sharing a lot of the viewpoints from different people. And Drew, I thought this might be a very interesting conversation just because we're coming from, I guess, multiple ways of looking at things, as both of us being writers, creatives, producers, you know, in that sense. And then there's the talent aspect of it too. So you have the business and the creative end of how you get things done, and also the trials and tribulations of just, you got to keep going. So first, I would like to talk about just the acting, you know, building a brand is so important these days for people that want to be in the industry. Just as, if not more important than having the talent. I mean, we talk about this many times with the shows of they keep casting the same people over and over and over again, while the perception is that, well, if you hire fill in the blank this person, there's a certain amount of people that will see the movie because this person is in it. And that's been going on since, I don't know, since what, the 60s?
Film.
Yeah.
The start of film, if you put like a known person on film, people are going to come back and then watch them repeatedly. It's just a thing.
Right.
I'd say like Charlie Chaplin era.
Right.
Even before then, I would say before like they even had film. But I mean, as a writer, I'm kind of like on the fringes. I work freelance. People that I know who are in the industry, it's not even really like a known secret nowadays. It's just kind of common knowledge that it's about who you know. To round it back to your point of it being casted by the same people, yeah, it's because when it's who you know and that person is in a hit, and let alone like a couple to a few hits, they become the standard. They become like the cream of the crop, as they like to say.
Right.
And it just kind of becomes what I say after, it's like the quasi-incestuous thing where it's like just the same actors again and again. And I get that while I get those reasons for why they do that, because if they're going to go with like a brand, to talk about like a brand for a moment, if they're going to go on some brand, they want to make it something to where we're guaranteed a hit. We want the maximum return for our investment and then some. And we want to set up the sequels and all the other crap with it.
Right.
So it just falls into the same pattern of what worked the last time, do it again with maybe a couple more explosions and a few more cameos.
Right.
And make sure there's like an epilogue stinger in there to tease people for the next product. That's you. It's an assembly line. It's churned out. It's in the same process, and it's with that comes the actors, the artists, the people that are involved. They're part of that kind of churning process. And there's some that get in for a while. When they rot out, all right, you're done. Next, and then it's on to the next project, on to the next crap. So it's.
The young lady that played Snow White, I didn't really pay attention to all the drama. I'm not too sure what happened, but because there's some sort of conflict between her and Disney, do you think her career is over now?
I mean, with Disney it is. She'll probably find something to do, but that's like we said before the last time we talked about Ziegler's goofy self, is it's a hell of a way to go in and a hell of a way to see yourself out of the industry. She was, it was her first major film, right? I don't know a thing about her.
No, she did a couple films.
Well, this was her, all right, to rephrase her, it was her biggest yet, right? It was her biggest production to date.
This is the cream of the crop of stories.
It's a Disney princess. Everyone
Right.
was going to see her face in this. So it's like, this was a big one to come out on, and you, okay, that's one way to see yourself out. And then apparently she's trying to sue them.
Right.
I'm like, all right, it's acting. She'll find some other role, I'm sure. But when it comes to anything Disney related, whoever else Disney is affiliated with, that's a hell of a way to blackball yourself.
Right.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That's as she once said in an interview. That's Hollywood, baby.
Oh my
She'll be all right. She'll be all right. I'm not even like tripping on it like that. She'll be cool.
She'll be cool.
But it's kind of not even pulling the whole karma. You reap what you sow stuff. But hey, that's what you say, and then that's what ends up happening to folks. That's Hollywood. It's a beast.
So, I always like to add when people say it's who you know. But I always like to add is also who decides to know you back. I've heard the complaints of some individuals saying, well, I know this one and that one, this one. But like, why aren't they hooking you up then?
You can't control that, though, Seven.
Right.
Like, you can't control other people's interest in you. All you can
Right.
really do is just optimize what you make, whatever your field is, whatever your craft is, hone that, and then just let the work show for itself.
Right.
If someone says, you're not very good, you go, all right, well, show me better. Point me to someone better. Or if you want to collab on something, let me know.
Right.
Be professional.
Well, I feel that some people have such a hard time with that and take it so personal, which they can't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an industry where it's very attractive. People that like attention, people that are narcissistic. I mean, it attracts a lot of certain types of people. Unfortunately,
it's hot people like that.
Yeah, it's a
It's
hotbed.
like a magnet.
Right. Now, of course, obviously not everyone, but there's a certain percentage where it's just going to attract those personalities. So you got to shift through all that to get to decent people. But regardless, decent or not decent, either way, are you going to make me money? Unfortunately, it's one of those businesses where if they don't see... Pardon?
Yeah, beneath all that, it's the bottom line of how much money can we make off of it. That's everyone's core. How much money can we make off of it? How much of a buzz? Now it's like added with the clout.
Right.
So it's like how many people will see it, how many people will be streaming, or how can it go viral, and how much money can we make off of it?
Right, exactly.
Those are the two tenets.
So that's a lot. That's a lot to push through. And you said something before we even started that, like, anybody out there listening, don't take it personal. Don't go on Instagram or any kind of social media and hold the images that you see against your progress, what you're trying to do and what you want to achieve. Because first of all, a lot of that is not real anyway. And also that's their journey, might not necessarily be yours. You could just do the best that you can do.
Yeah, to add a little bit of extra clarification to that, when it comes to like that frustration of seeing like your efforts with to people out there that are like when they're feeling downtrodden, but you should never feel downtrodden or down about other people's success. I should start there. Right. Seeing someone else makes like a career or like be successful, that should never be an indicator for you to be mad. If that's what that incites in you, right. Take a step back and chill. You gotta right. cut that out.
Right.
But it should, rather than going online and having a big woes me session, is what a lot of people do. This isn't aimed at anyone specific. There's just people do this en masse. It's what most social media is people online telling on themselves and whining about their problems. Don't do that. Just don't do it. I get it. It's rough out here. There's days where I'm frustrated as hell when it comes to like being, a writer, a creator.
I'm sorry. I'm just like you're telling on yourself.
No, you are. You're out here telling on yourself, man. Don't be out here like I should be the one on top. F these people. These people are what? I should be the number one. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. It's just or girl. It's just focus instead on what your craft is, what your passion is. Make that the best thing that you could possibly make it, and then put it out to the right people, or put it out for free. Hell, that's what also social media can be for. Putting your artwork out there. Put your stuff out there.
I like what you said earlier too, which almost could be a mantra. I don't know if I'm saying it right. If I say it wrong, correct me, because you said it's so dope. You were like, well, if you think, what do you say? If you think that person's dope, well, I'm even better. Or you said it's like, show me somebody better. Basically, show and prove. Like, if you think you are the best, then you gotta show you're the best.
Just put it out there, man. Do your thing. Yeah. Show us yours. There was this is like a few years ago. I was getting my hair done at one of my aunt's salons, and she had a client there, and this dude was swearing up and down that he was like, he literally said the words, "I'm a better singer than Prince and Michael Jackson." And when he got to that point in the conversation, I just looked at him and said, "Show me with what go make that album. Show me."
Right.
And then years, however long that takes you, we'll come back and have this conversation.
Yeah.
Until then, never heard from him again. But
I want to meet that person.
Literally that simple.
That's impressive.
If I'm gonna be, you're gonna be out here talking, you're gonna be king of the pirates. Okay, go ahead, Luffy. Go. Do it. Do it now.
Wow.
It's that simple.
That's impressive.
Meanwhile, I'm doing my thing.
Wow. I'm not that bold.
I'm not making it up. I swear, I wish I could make this stuff up. But at one point, he was a younger kid. He was like in his 20 something.
Gotcha.
And he was trying to talk to me about, I guess, another guy that he'd followed on social media. He's such a great singer. And it's like, what he showed me was him singing in the shower. And I'm like, do you have an actual track of the dude singing? He sounds all right, but those could be the acoustics. I at least know that much about music. But like, when it got to him having to prove it, right, to the show and prove point, I'm like, what album? He's so great with what album? Show me what material does he have out? Right. And then it boiled down to the yes, you should follow, just trust me on this. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't just take people's word on that.
Right.
And then so it's, again, just show, don't tell. Stop telling everybody how awesome you are. Just go out and put the thing out there.
And that's a good transition, even from, all right, we talked about acting and actors, but when it goes to writing, actually any part of the production, it does, at this point, because of technology, it's about show and prove. Show me something. You're dope, show me something. What do you got? And it's accessible now.
It's very accessible now. That's the cool part about technology and us living in such an era of abundance when it comes to digital stuff, is that you can make a film literally on your phone. You don't need to go through the red tape, the company stuff. If you want to make a film, you can just scrounge up a little money you have, whatever equipment that you can get, and make your film. It's ubiquitous. So it depends on the inroad, and holding ourselves accountable. It's like where we go with what our passion is, what we do with our craft. It's a matter of what tools you have in your immediate that you can use to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, so I've come across so many people that know me as a musician and as a music producer. Depends on which circle, right? Know me for film, photography, whatever, right? Or even acting, whatever. But and they're like, hey, let's do something. I'm dope and I'm amazing, like all the things. I was like, cool, send me something. And it doesn't have to be a fully produced, like this, you spent $5 million on working on a song, but if you don't even have a basic recording, I mean, every phone has a memo thing on it. You know what I mean? Like and every computer comes with like a basic program. Like Apple has GarageBand.
GarageBand, yeah.
Right. So it does get to this weird thing. Like there's no excuse not to have something.
Yeah, there's ways around it. There's they won't be top of the line, but they exist, and when used like within whatever you're trying to go for, you can make what you're trying to make.
Right.
You can be done.
It also separates if someone's serious or not. Because if you have nothing, it's like,
that's the core of it.
You're just talking.
Yeah, that's at the core of it. If you're actively about that, if you're about that life, as I like to say, then just you're going to be doing it. Right. You don't need to sit there and talk to us about it all the time. Just do it.
I'm a great videographer. What cameras you got? Well,
yeah. Whenever I see we see it every day. But when you have the people online talking about how they're I'm about my grind. I'm doing this every day. I'm like, but you need to take time to film it and angle it just right. And you need to put all your editing crap. You took time out of your day to tell us that you're doing what you should already be doing.
Right.
Like that's wasted effort and time as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Just do it. Do it now.
Do it now. Now that you mentioned that, do you go to film festivals?
Sometimes. It depends on what, like, I don't know if season is a thing, but it depends on what type of movie it is and what type of crowd. Some I love to go because you see things in advance and you might see a flick in there. And a lot of times it can be just not all that. I'll just leave it at that.
I like them. I think it's great networking, but they also can, depending on why you're going. If you're just going as a fan and want to just take in some art, that's one thing. But if you're going to market yourself and push whatever aspect of production or, in front of the camera that you're trying to do, I do feel they could be a waste of time. I think you got to be very strategic on which ones you go to and really go with an agenda.
Yeah. And what you're describing, it's my experience is going to them. It's kind of divided between the two camps. It's like people that are there just for the art, just for the lulls and the shits and giggles and stuff. And then you get the people there that are trying to like link up and do that whole elbow rub thing.
Right. And there's a third group that go just to show off.
Just to be out, yeah. And here's the thing though too. You get the people that, you're right, that third group that are just there, and they're the ones that are always dressed up in all the stuff. They always got, everything on.
Right.
It's almost like they try to morph it into like a small Oscars, is what my joke was.
In their mind.
To them, it's like the off key, the poor man's bra, like, Oscars. And I'm like, you know what? Let them have it.
Right.
Some of them will be looking interesting.
Right. But the worst part is when that third group pretends they're part of the second group, but they really ain't trying to do it. They ain't trying to link up with you. They ain't trying to do nothing. They just want to do a lot of that. That I cannot stand. Because I go to network.
You're there to network, but when you're an industry guy, you actually talk the language. You can tell when they have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to actual industry stuff. I've watched conversations like this take place, and it was hilarious. But yeah, you got a lot of people there that'll just be there to take pictures and look like they're at some type of. They'll put gala in it or something. And I'm like, dude, we're not at a hotel. You're not at a gala. What are you doing? But
right,
yeah.
So I've come across and famous people too, and not so famous, but that third group just gets now it's kind of like I got your number, okay. Let's see if they actually follow up, That part sucks. And I agree with Davey on that too. Like, you just come across so many people BSing, but you have to keep going. If this is the path,
if that's
what you
you're
want
about,
to do.
and that's what you're into, you keep going. And I would say this, it would be to anyone interested in the industry itself, even if you're not a fan of festivals, right? You don't have to be the biggest fan. Go to a few. Just to get an eye for it. And like while you're there, I would say particularly pay attention to like the other people interacting with each other. If nothing else, you get great fodder for scenes, because it's funny watching Hollywood people like be the stereotype that they actually say that we are. They're like, right? But you do get an ear for like how things get done. The briefest example, when I was at Northridge, CSUN, we had a thing for the late director who did Boys in the Hood, John Singleton.
John Singleton, yeah.
It was a thing for John Singleton, and Angela Bassett was there. And I'm sitting in one row, she's in the row ahead of me, and the lady that's sitting next to me is like, tap her on the shoulder, please. And I'm like, I'm not just going to tap Angela Bassett's shoulder, dude. I did get her attention, but afterwards I was listening, it was her and John Singleton's mother, who I also met that night. She was actually really nice. And hearing them talk to the coordinators and the director of the event, And it was like you got like very poignant. You got like a very different conversation than what the people who they're trying to butter each other up were. It was a very two very different dynamics of business and conversation that I would say that anyone who's like a professional or looking to be in the industry, get that experience point in. So go to at least a few just to see what it's like.
Right. No, I think it's important
Yeah.
if that's what you want to do. Now,
It was yeah.
I think also because of technology and the desire to, I guess you could say, like, oh, well, I'm acting, I got to create an opportunity for myself to show what I can do, which you have every right to do that, right? If no one's giving you a chance to act, then create one. There are tons of people out there that are writing and directing that need actors. And if you actually seek it, there's tons of people doing independent stuff, even people in the colleges that just need people to act. So if you can't find something, and now again, I'm not saying necessarily paid things, but if you need to build a resume, those opportunities are out there. But if you're like, you know what, I want to create my own thing so people can see what I could do. That's cool, but you also gotta just be aware of how you're branding yourself, and when you present it.
What do you when you say branding? Like,
well, I say, like, so for instance, if here's a film, and I wrote it, directed, I'm acting in it, right? And you're a producer, you're doing different things, and let's say you're also a director. Well, you don't need me to direct because you're a director.
Okay.
Right? So when I meet you, hey, I'm acting in this thing that I happen to be directing and writing, so that way, oh, you're an actor. Unfortunately, you do, depending on who you talk to and what you put out there, have to be aware of how you're really pushing or branding yourself, because that's how people are going to see you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I follow. From what people who've been in the industry way longer than anyone else has, they've told me that when you have an idea for a project, unless you have something very specific, you just approach them with the product, and then you kind of branch out into who would be acting, who would be directing, who would produce. If you are acting as a producer, you could open with that, but like kind of, there's a whole little chain to it. There's a dance to it when it comes to like introducing a product, a pitch meeting, how you would introduce the product, and in what capacity directors X, Y, and Z would be doing. But it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Also, there's another thing that came into conversation where talking about like the different networking events and how a lot of people do all these different things, and I did 100 films or I did 50 films. And I think that it's a weird time and space because everything is so accessible. Anyone could do 100 films. Like, you do 100 films on your phone. But that doesn't necessarily...
When you say film, like, we're talking feature length, like, runtime is a factor, but, like, everyone has content out, right? Everybody's got things to post online. Anybody can make content. But I think when it comes to, like, a project specifically, like a feature film, 70 minutes or more, you could, in all honesty, you could make a Tubi video. That's what Tubi is, effectively. The app.
Right.
Like, you get people that kind of good enough. It's not like blockbuster crazy worthy, but it's a platform for it. You can make your little, bootleg budget, shoestring budget film and get it posted on there. And you can even cheap out further and just put the whole thing on YouTube.
Well, in your opinion, as a writer, and someone that produces content, and a journalist. You're a journalist as well.
Former
journalist. Do you feel that that's something that even someone would have to be careful of how much they kind of push their chest out? Well, I've done 20 films on IMDb, whatever like that. But then it's like, well, did any of those films make any money? Like, is it harder critique these days because there's this fine line between, you did a bunch of content. You didn't really do a major film, or you didn't do You know what I mean? Or didn't make any money. Like, are
I mean,
people
anyone that's out, yeah, puffing their chest out, I'm like, just let. It's good to be proud and glad of your own work. Let me not
okay?
like you misunderstood there.
Hmm.
Be proud of your work. Proudly present your stuff. But what's the old term? Stay humble about it. You don't gotta be. I made this. This is for me. I'm like, chill. I
Doesn't
mean,
really.
or don't be chilled. Let me see. But if the movie's kind of ass, then I'm gonna be like, it was alright. And then that's its own form of contention and stuff. Now I'm a critic. So
Right, right. I wonder if that hurts people in a way. Now,
first somehow.
well, again, 15, 20 years ago, well, I did 20 films. Like, someone said, oh, I did 20 films, even 10 films. It's like, oh, well, that's
Okay.
amazing. Well, now if someone, oh, well, I did 50 films, but they're all in independent, you know, what we said, the film festivals, or basically it's a bunch of content, didn't make any money, never got any promotion, was never in the theater, most of it never streamed anywhere. I wonder if people are as critical of the work more now, just because so many people can create content versus what people are able to accomplish
Okay.
before, if that
Kind of
makes
like
sense.
more a quality over quantity type of argument
Right.
or question. Uh, Again, I just say stay humble. If you have like 200 projects and they're all kind of just in the fringes, cool. You've made, you've done a lot of stuff. You're considered a veteran at this point. But it's like my question, my little cheeky response to that would be, what new you got working on? What's the next one? I'll check out the other stuff because I haven't heard of it. But what else are you working on? What else? It's
So it's always a thing of you just got to
speculative.
keep going, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, the message is still the same. Keep going. Like, what's your next thing going to be? Keep it somewhat positive and productive. If it's going to be a critique, all right, that's cool. I'll check those out. In the meanwhile, what else you got? What are you working on now?
Gotcha. Yeah, I would like to get a round table of the conversation of indie versus major, because it does get to a certain point to how we started this conversation. Do what you do it the best you can do, and then keep it going. And what's next? Like, that's what I'm pulling from this conversation. You just got to keep going, keep getting better and better and better. And if you're dope and 5 people know it, you're still dope. Like, that doesn't take anything away from you. And hopefully that 5 becomes 10, becomes 20, and you can do more of what you want to do. But those things, just like likes and follows, don't determine the quality of the work.
People got to ditch this notion of I put out a thing, I get 8 million likes, and everyone loves me for it instantly. It's perfectly fine going to ground for a couple to a few years, however long it takes to finish your project. Do it. It's not about the instant wins. It's not about the instant gratification. It's about honing your craft and putting it out there. So it takes time. That's the big thing that I'm learning. I think that we're learning as we continue on this whole trek in life is that these things take time. Time itself is a resource, but if you're doing it with purpose, you'll get there. You can get there. It can be done. So
I like that. I want to leave that right there. That was positive. You got it in you.
I try, man. I try not to. I'm trying not to be such a Dutch downer. I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom most of the time, but I try to leave it somewhat positive.
And you did. All right, you're watching GEEKCASTER. Thank you, Drew. I'm 7. You watching GEEKCASTER. You could always go to GEEKCASTER.com. GEEKCASTER on IG. GEEKCASTER on all of the things. And YouTube. And we will keep the conversation, keep information going. And wait for Drew to release these action figures. Stop playing games.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's like I said, it takes time. Yeah.
Awesome. And we're out.